TheHiTechNomad here, and this is sort of a rushed episode that I'm trying to get out, so it's not going to be the best production value, but it's got really good information. So here we're going to talk about the Fujitsu ScanSnap scanner, which is probably one of the best investments that best uses of my money, aside from that oil well in Texas. But it's one of the best investments as far as productivity goes. Now, this is the Fujitsu ScanSnap. It's also there'll be a link because Evernote, which also we're going to use with this, but Evernote has got their own sort of branding that they have on it now, but it's basically the same one. All right, so it's a little pricey. There are some other units out there, and I'll tell you why. You've probably had access to a scanner before that's maybe it's a printer fax scanner, and you said, okay, that's fine. Why would you pay $300, $400, $500, $600 just for a scanner? And you're going to see that in a second. So this is when it's at rest, and we just simply open it up here. We put this down, fold that up, open that up, and we're now ready to scan. Now, one of the great things one of the many things I like about the Fujitsu ScanSnap is that I can put it in just about any size. There are a couple of these out there you've seen, and I'll tell you why those are not that great in a minute. But you've seen a couple of different ones out there as far as scanning is concerned. So you can see I can scan something that's an odd shape. The other thing I like about the ScanSnap is that I can, I'm trying to get some stuff together here ahead of time. I can scan things of different sizes, different shapes. Let me try and get a couple other pieces of paper here. Oh, isn't that lovely? Okay. All right. So here I've got 3 different sizes of paper here. I'm sorry, 2 different sizes of paper here, but you get the idea. So you don't have to be all that critical as far as just get it in there. Okay. It will figure out that this one is separate from the other one. Okay. Okay. Figure that out. Doesn't make a difference. Couldn't care less. Okay. As long as you don't have staples in it, you're fine. So it will, and you saw the speed, and you actually can, I have it set to do color because some of my documents have color. If you have just black and white paper and you tell it that you're only going to be using black and white paper, I'm telling you, this thing flies. It's like twice as fast as this. Also doesn't make a difference which way I put it in. I can put it in upside down. I can put it in backwards. I can put it in sideways. Reason I'm waiting right now is it's actually the software part of that, which we're going to talk about in a second. I mean, that's still pretty fast, and that's with full color. So, as I said, what I like to do a lot of times is when I get my mail, I sit down with my mail, I open it up, I put it into a big stack. I literally could just take a stack and just put it in like this, and it will just go ahead and run flawlessly. It's pretty. That alone is worth the extra money, because if you have one of those flatbed scanners, you have to put the pages in, and if it's 2 or 3 different sizes or whatever, you're going to have to do those all the time. So this is one part of it, and this is it's I don't have to really spend a whole bunch of time on it. It's fast, it's quick. That's all it takes. This is now, I do this, it's off. It's just disconnected itself from the computer. When I open it up, you can hear it resetting, and it starts, and it will take anything. So you can do your business cards, you can do receipts, you can do 4x6 cards, anything up to that. And I forget what the huge, what the maximum length is, but it was pretty big. As you can see, we scanned that big long piece, and there wasn't any issue with that. There is also if you have something like stamps or something like that, you're a stamp collector or whatever, it comes with a sheet, which I have since lost, but it comes with a transparency sheet, and you open it up and you put whatever you want to put inside there. You close that up and you put those in, and then it'll scan those, and you should be all set as far as that is concerned.
Okay, we're back at the desktop here. If you're that 1 in 1,000 people or 10,000 or 100,000 that hasn't seen Evernote, you're in for a real treat, because this is a really good program. The scanner is only as good as your ability to pull things out. If you scan everything that you have, but you can't find anything, then it's of no use. That's where Evernote comes in. So here we have Evernote. So everything I scan is automatically scanned into Evernote. Now, there's a variety of ways of getting information into Evernote. Evernote will give you an email address, and with that email address, I can email things directly into the box. That you can do that, and I use that a lot. There is also a Evernote. I don't know if I'm actually using it. There is an Evernote. Yeah, there it is. Okay. There's an Evernote plugin for Outlook, so that I can just go ahead and, for example, take this note, this email, and go ahead and send it in. I can give it text tags in which notebook. We're just going to just drop it in the default one for right now. And that pretty much does it. So I could, pick and choose a whole bunch of different ones. As you can see, that's already come in there already. Okay. So I can do that. And then I can also, there is a web clipper. So if I'm doing something and I come across some information and I say, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for, and I want to make sure that I can keep that, there is a little icon up here. I've got so many. There we go. The little elephant. The elephant never forgets. That's their some little motto here. And I need to log in. And I actually have two-step authentication on my system, which means even if you were to get my password, unless you actually have my phone, it will do you no good. There's a lot more companies that are going with two-step authentication, especially given everything that's going on. So I strongly suggest, all right. So it's obviously very secure. So now it gives me the ability to save it as an article, as a simplified article, which means it tries to strip off the things that don't belong. The full page, bookmark, meaning just keep this link, or a screenshot where we'll go ahead and do the screenshot. I usually do full page. I can then add my tags, whatever my tags are, and we'll talk about tags in a minute. And I go ahead and save that, and that's fine. And I use that all the time. So as I come across something, I might be doing research for a new Android tablet or something, I can go ahead and do all that, and it will go ahead and put that in. I can even send a reminder, and they've just recently added that I have the ability to now go ahead and share this out, so I can immediately share this out to Twitter or Facebook or email or what have you. Okay, so let's come back in here. And this syncs up every few minutes. You can decide how often or how often for it to sync. So we have our, and there we go. These are facts about Mars. Okay, so we have our notes. You can arrange your notes in notebooks. The only problem I have with Evernote, for some bizarre reason, they have limited you to 250 notebooks for what they call syncing notebooks. And then they give you so many notebooks that don't sync, which I think is kind of silly. So a notebook that doesn't sync would reside on your computer, but would not go up to the cloud to sync. And I think the whole purpose behind it is and for me, it's to have it sync. But I guess if you wanted to do something, and for security reasons, you didn't want your information actually leaving the building, you could use those local mailboxes, those local notebooks. And you say 250 notebooks, that sounds like quite a lot. You'd be surprised, because once you start putting things in notebooks, you will find that you can very quickly go through 250 notebooks, okay? You can also create what's called a stack, which is notebooks inside of a notebook. And I like that. The problem I've always had with stacks is they don't allow you to share stacks. I can share a notebook, but I can't share a stack. And I actually have stacks where I have 5 and 6 notebooks in there, and I want to share those out to someone, and I have to share out each individual notebook rather than share out the stack of notebooks or the collection of notebooks. All right, so let's go and take a look at one. It's Android devices. And again, you can see I'm basically, this was a web clip from Amazon. You can see it tells me when I actually created it. It will tell me the URL I was at when I did it, and then I can add tags. Tags might be something like this is a Bluetooth device. Actually, I don't even think I have one for that, so I think I actually will do that. So I'm going to put Bluetooth on there, and also let's see, I'll also put wearable. There we go. And then as I do that, I'm accumulating all of these tags at the bottom here. And I can go in and I can search based upon those tags or group them together based upon whatever the tags. And it tells you how many items belong in that particular gadgets obtained. It says a whole bunch of things over there. Okay. So the tags are an easy way to sort of categorize things. So you can have things in you can have something in one notebook, but have enough tags on it so that you can search by tags. The great thing about Evernote is you can search by any number of different ways to pull your information out. Okay, so let's see. Let's come back up here, and let's move all this up here. Okay, so you can search by any number of different things. So, for example, I tend to even scan my receipts. So if I say Best Buy, I'm going to get everything that I've done with Best Buy as far as articles and so on and so forth. But I also tend to take my receipts and put those in the ScanSnap, and I can actually search on, which is, I'm going to say I'm typing 2845. I happen to know what I'm looking for. So 2845. And you can see it has actually found 2845. I knew the rest of it, 2845. So it actually has that information right in there. Okay, so it's very, very easy to find what you're looking for in Evernote. You'd say, well, that makes sense, but you'd be surprised how many different document programs don't make it easy for you to find things. I can even go refer to the Atlas. And what the Atlas is going to do, the Atlas is going to show me an atlas, and it's going to show me where I was when I took certain notes. So, for example, let's come over here. And I think this is probably Estonia. Okay. So, when I was in Estonia, it says I took 94 notes. You can see that a couple of the notes that went in were actually pictures. It actually is showing me the pictures. Let's go to Tartu. And let's go to view. And one of them was a picture when I had dinner at the kissing statue. I happened to just pull out my phone. I took a picture of it. I added it to Evernote because Evernote makes it very, very easy to add information. I took a class in Tartu. And you can see, so as I was storing notes in Evernote while I was taking my class, it was also keeping track of where was I when I took these particular notes. Now, the other thing that I can do is I can make these notes be reminders. So I can actually take and add a note and say, remind me about this note next week, next month. So I can actually just go and say, okay, I'm going to buy a cat. And I can put in the rest of my information. You notice there's no save button. And there's no save button because it is saving it just as I'm doing it. That's how quick it's so. You don't have to go and say, oh, I forgot to hit save, because as soon as you do it, it's actually saving it. Okay. And I can go up to add a reminder. This will be add a date. I could say tomorrow, in a week, or I can put down a specific time, and that will actually remind me both in the app and on my phone, because I have the Evernote app on my phone, which we'll take a look at that in a few seconds. Okay. Now, I also have a nice built-in feature, which is their new slideshow feature. And their new slideshow feature takes your notes and actually turns them into a nice slideshow without you having to do anything. So here's the first slide. I can just go through, and what it's doing is just moving from one note to another. And that's just kind of a nice thing. I don't use it that much myself, but it gives me the ability. So if I did take and put aside a lot of information, I can actually review, I can actually present it without taking the time to create a slideshow. I can just go up, create the little slideshow, and here I am. And now I can start talking about my notes and move through my notes one at a time and go through from that. So that's a pretty cool little feature that they add. And they keep adding new features, and of course you don't pay anything more for those. You just get those as they come up. Now, it also has a built-in sketch program called Sketch, and Sketch will allow you to annotate anything. So I can actually go in and draw on a picture. I can go in, I can make changes, I can put arrows, I can highlight, whatever I want to do. So it's a nice little feature. So if I want to draw attention to something and I say, okay, you know what, this is the one right here that I'm interested in, and please notice that this band right here, that's all I've had to do. That's now part of that note. Very easy, very simple. And that's another one of the nice things that I like about Evernote. I can obviously print a note. That's another way. How do we get them back out? I can print a note. I can delete a note. The input will also allow me to do voice input, so I can actually do a voiceover. I can add a little voice note attachment to it, etc. And then obviously I can share a note, and I can share a note by doing it a couple of different ways. I can save the attachment, I can print the note, I can export the note, I can share the note, I can share it by social platform now, so I can just go ahead and post a note right from here, right to Facebook, or right from here, right to Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever I have set up. I can send it by email, and it will actually go right from here. It'll send it as a PDF. If it's a PDF, usually it sends it out as a PDF, or it can send out a link depending upon what's going on. I can ask it to CC me when it does it. Very, very easy. Do not show that again. Just go ahead and do it. I can also share a notebook, and we talked about that. So I can actually go to share notebook, and I have the ability to share with people. I can actually even publish it. So I'm going to say publish. And as you can see, it's going to give me a URL. And if I go ahead and click on that, that's going to give access to this notebook. Here we go. And then I have the choice of making you join before you can actually see it, or just go ahead and see it. So I'm going to put a link for that down in the description so you can see how that works. But basically, I could give somebody this link, or I can actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this link to a domain name, so that you would just type in www.century21fashion.com, and it will go ahead and bring that up automatically. So another nice little feature there. So you can actually publish things. So again, instead of having a newsletter or whatever, you can actually make a notebook, publish that notebook, and then everybody has access to it to view. You can select who has access to change, but you can make it to view, and it makes it very, very easy. So again, that's a really nice little built-in feature, and you're going to get all that as a premium member. So I can go in, I can search for a note, I can go in and say, okay, 2845. And there we go. There's the same note that we took a look at a little while ago. It's going to take a second to come back up. We'll talk about that in a second, because obviously what it's doing is it's going to the cloud and getting that information, and there we go. There's that same receipt that I had. And I can go and I can save it as an attachment. I can email a copy. So imagine you're out and somebody needs a copy of receipt. Accounting call says you never gave us that receipt. You can go in and just send that back up. All right. So I said it took a little while. It didn't take that long, but it took a few seconds. But you can actually take some of these notebooks and make them available offline. So if I knew that I needed to look at one of these notebooks, regardless of whether I was connected to an internet or not, I can actually go in and say, I want this to be an offline notebook, and what it will do is every so often it will sync it up, and I can set what that syncing time is, and I can go in and it will automatically sync and keep an offline version of that notebook for me. If it's easy to do, you'll do it. If it's not easy, you won't do it. So there's even a little quick camera here. So if I'm out and about and I need to take a picture of something, I can take a picture of it. The document piece actually has like a built-in document scanner. So I can actually go ahead and do some things with it. And it's gone ahead and I've set some defaults. I told it just, if I take a picture, just get it in the machine. I'll deal with it later. And as you can see, it's down there. So now if I go to the app itself or to the web. Now the app, there is a web app that works fine. There's just my problem with the web app is it doesn't have all of the features, but it has 99% of them. And it's perfect if you're out and about and you need to do something. But you can now actually get the full app under the Google Chromebook, so you can actually use that as well. All right. So I'm just going to go up and say sync real quick because it takes a second. And as you can see, here we go. It's actually going to tell you where I was when I took this picture. I have the picture now. It's in there. I can add text. I can annotate it. I can add whatever I want to add to it. Okay. I can do a little presentation. So again, very, very simple, very easy to get all of your information into the system. So let's see if we've covered everything. Okay, so we covered the app itself. It's your ability to just put things in, pull them out. I can go in now, for example, and edit this note. I can add some tags to it. I can say, well, what did I take this picture for, or whatever it happens to be. I can say new tablet or whatever it happens to be. Now, some people say, well, I really got some really weird things I need to do. Is there any programming? Well, there is some scripting, and I'm not going to get into that. Probably the easiest thing for most people is a program called Zapier, or I'm sorry, a application called a web-based application, web app called Zapier. And Zapier basically allows you to, it's works with all of these different programs, and you can pick and say, okay, when I'm in Evernote and I create a new notebook, create a new Dropbox, let's say, or when I create a notebook and it has the word Best Buy in it, immediately send that note to accounting because they need to have a copy of that. Or anything. So you can do all of these really, if you really want to get into it, you can do all of these really cool things with Zapier. Zapier interacts with a number of different systems. Some of the programs that Zapier interacts with. So you could say, when I take a picture, if I'm in Evernote and I take a picture and I'm in Estonia, immediately post that picture to Instagram. Or send it to my QuickBooks Online as a receipt. So there's a good one for you. So I could say every time I use the tag receipt and I take a picture of something, automatically post that in my QuickBooks Online as a receipt so that I have all of my receipts. Isn't that pretty? That's pretty amazing right there just with that one. So they actually have their own addition that they call it, which is they've added a few things to it. I think they added wireless to this. I don't know that for 100% sure. Oh, okay, Wi-Fi support. Okay, so they're basically saying, I mean, and that's even cooler if you think about it. So they've kept the same, all of the good features of the ScanSnap, but they added a wireless feature, which means you just pick it up and move it from one part of the office to the other, put your documents in and scan them, and they will immediately go up to Evernote. So that's pretty cool. So what I have, right, like for example, I have the older version, which is USB, and it's connected to one computer. So I have to go to that computer to put it in. Again, not a big deal. But if it was wireless and I could just literally just pick it up, move it, and put it on this desk or put it on that desk, that would be pretty cool. Okay, that about wraps this up. So again, ScanSnap, Evernote, match made in heaven. Everything works perfect. Easy to get the information in, easy to get the information out. Again, I try to do these videos as often as I can. I try to cover all the things that you ask me about. Please hit the like button. Please click the subscribe button. And until we meet again, this is the TheHiTechNomad signing off.